This Saturday is UFC Fight Night Nashville. Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. And this is going to be my full card predictions. I'm going to break down every single fight on this illustrious card. For me, it's not the greatest Fight Night card overall. It's not horrible. Main event is What makes me really sad is this is in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you guys know, Conor McGregor's road back to the UFC runs through Nashville, Tennessee. And for me, it's just sad that we're not seeing Michael Chandler fight on this card, potentially in his retirement fight. Imagine main event of this card was like a Michael Chandler Fairs DM. That would be a straight up heater to main event in Nashville, Tennessee. Unfortunately, it's not. But again, it's not the worst Fight Night card ever. We're going to go through every single fight. I'm going to give a quick breakdown and prediction. Let's start off with the people's main event. We have Fatima Kline versus Melissa Martinez. The people's main event. If you guys enjoy these prediction videos, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going Fatima Kline. Fatima Kline, she lost to Jasmine Jadavicius, who's a top 10 strawweight now, who's very, very good. And Kline did okay in that fight. And then since then, she got a win over Victoria Dudakova, who I think is way better than Melissa Martinez, even though Dudakova's not that good. But Dudakova's losing to Elise Reed, and then since then beat Alice Ardeline. Means absolutely nothing. I think Kline is the better fighter. I think she's clearly the better grappler. I think she's shown the grappling skills that really Melissa Martinez does not have because she's just mediocre everywhere. And I don't think either one of these women are like the elite of the elite, but I think Kline is better everywhere, but particularly in the grappling, which she showed in her last few fights. She finished Victoria Dudakova. You know, she did okay in the grappling exchanges with Jasmine. Not great, but she did okay. I think it was in the first round. I didn't recently rewatch that one. But yeah, I'm going Fatima Kline to get it done. I'm going to say unanimous decision. Probably like a 30-27 decision win for Fatima Kline. Maybe even gets to finish because I'm not high on Melissa Martinez at all. Bottom of the barrel, scrubby women's MMA fighter. I'm going Fatima Kline. Next fight on the card, we have Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis. I don't even know like how you could even debate this fight really. Like, oh man, Mitch Ramirez, man, the dogs are going to be barking, man. I got 10 units on Mitch Ramirez. We get cards like this because of the betting bros. I'm going Mike Davis. Mike Davis is a really good fighter. He's good everywhere. He's not super active, to be honest. Mike Davis, this isn't really a skill breakdown here. I think Mike Davis has money, man. I think he has money. I think he's a good fighter. He just has money, and he's like, man, is this really worth it? Because you look at his, last few fights. So he fought 5 months ago. So he's being pretty active now, fighting 5 months later. But before that, it was a year and a half almost. Before that, 2 years, 9 months, almost 3 years. So in the last 6 years, he's fought 5 times. Not very active, but Mitch Ramirez is getting stopped via leg kicks against Thiago Moises. Mitch Ramirez is okay on the feet. He's gritty. He took some damage before eventually he was finished. Before that, a win in LFA. Before that, a loss on Dana White's Contender Series against Carlos Prates. I believe he was able to take Carlos Prates down in that fight. Before that, he's fighting guys that aren't that good outside the organization. Mike Davis, don't get me wrong, he hasn't beat like elite competition. He beat Mason Jones, who just returned, but that was 5 years ago. 4.5 years ago, he beat Mason Jones. Vyacheslav Borshev, not that good. Natan Levy, not that good. But I just don't think Mitch Ramirez is all that good at all. So I think Mike Davis will probably beat him up. Will probably take him down. Probably the better striker. Probably the better grappler too. Really just better everywhere. So I'm going to pick Mike Davis to get it done. I'm going to say ground and pound TKO. If Thiago Moises is getting him out of there. And I know Thiago Moises is kind of inconsistent. Kind of looks good one fight. Looks shitty another fight. I just think Mike Davis, very athletic, very well-rounded. Mitch Ramirez getting finished by Thiago Moises. I'm going to take Mike Davis to get it done. I think he probably TKOs Mitch Ramirez. I'm going to say Mike Davis, second round TKO. Next fight on the card. Ooh, this is a tough one, boys. We have Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Valter Walker. Oh, man. This isn't as easy as it may seem. I feel like everyone, let me look at Topology real quick. Yeah, 70% is taking Nzechukwu. Look who he's beat. Lucas Dresky, Chris Barnett. They're bums. They're like the NPC bums of heavyweight that I would literally dispatch in a round. You look at it before that, lost to OSP, the dead body of OSP. Before that, lost to Dustin Jacoby. He moved up to heavyweight, which obviously skilled at heavyweight. And don't get me wrong, Valter Walker in his UFC debut, he lost to Lucas Stresky. Looked horrible in that fight. But since then, beat Junior Tafa heel hook very early. Same with Dontel Mays. And he's looked in better shape in those fights. And Kennedy Nzechukwu is not a true heavyweight. He's one of these guys that's like, you know what? I'm at 205. I see all these fat boys up at 265 that I can beat up at 225, 230. He weighed in 236, I believe, his last fight. I think Valter Walker, I think he's getting in shape. I think he's actually a true heavyweight. His last fight weighed in at 245. I'm going to go Valter Walker. Only lost one fight. I know it's against Dresky, but he wasn't in great shape. That was his UFC debut. Maybe a little bit of jitters. His grappling has looked unbelievable. I think he's going to be much stronger than Nzechukwu. I think Nzechukwu is going to have the striking advantage. But Valter Walker can throw some power back. So I'm going to go Valter Walker to get it done. I could see him subbing. him. Imagine he gets another heel hook. Back-to-back heel hooks at heavyweight. Does he get another one? You know what? I'm going to say first round heel hook for Valter Walker. Lock me in for that. Okay? I think he's going to try to do what he's been doing. And I think Nzechukwu's been getting by, fighting tubby boys like Chris Barnett. And I think Valter Walker is a more athletic. Like, look at this picture. He doesn't look that tubby here. And granted, he could show up tubby. I mean, I'm trying to think of the one. What's the one guy's name people were hyping up for a bit? I can picture his face right now. Damn, how can I not remember his name? I think he's cut from the organization. There was one heavyweight, and I cannot think of his name. I can picture him right now. People were acting like he was a new breed of heavyweight. Had some decent grappling. And I remember saying, like, look, last fight he showed up with like 1 minute of cardio. Damn it, I can't think of his name. If you know who I'm talking about, comment it down below right now. But I said I'm not picking him. He's probably going to show up tubby as hell. And sure enough, he showed up tubby as hell and lost the fight in embarrassing fashion when everyone was picking him. And I don't know why his name escapes me. If Valter Walker shows up super chubby, I switch my pick to Nzechukwu. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Valter Walker is trying to become a contender in the heavyweight division, which is lacking contenders. I think he's taking his career a little bit more seriously. He sees the opportunity at heavyweight. And I think he's going to go out there and get a first round heel hook. And maybe at some point that name will come to me. I think he fought Alexander Volkov. So let me just look that up. I think he fought Alexander Volkov. Let me take a look. Hold on. It's coming to me. It's like Volk, what was it? Hold on. Why can't I find it? Alexander Romanov, fat boy. Yeah. I picked him to get destroyed by Jalton Almeida. What else fight did he look horrible? Oh, against Volkov was the one I was talking. Some people were picking him to beat Volkov. Let me actually go back and look at that. I know I'm wasting time right now, but let me actually go back. I swear people were picking Romanov to beat. Yeah, 47. Okay, people picked Volkov, but 47% picked Romanov to beat Volkov. Think about how crazy that is. Anyway, I'm going Valter Walker, first round heel hook. Too big, too strong, taking his career more seriously. And Nzechukwu's not a true heavyweight. He's a tubby boy. Next fight on the card. All right, did I say people's main event earlier? I don't remember. Laura Murphy versus Eduarda Moura. How can you pick Lauren Murphy? How can you pick Lauren Murphy? When's the last time she fought? It's been 2.5 years since she lost to Jessica Andrade. Before that, she beat Miesha Tate. Before that, got destroyed by Valentina Shevchenko in a title fight. Oh my God, she got a title fight 2 fights ago. Listen, Eduarda Moura is not that good. She beat Veronica Hardy in her last fight. Before that, lost to Denise Gomes. Before that, beat Montserrat Ruiz. Before that, on Dana White's Contender Series. I'm not picking 750-year-old Lauren Murphy. I'm just not. I thought she was retired. Apparently, this is going to be her retirement fight. Eduarda Moura, decently strong in the clinch. Decent, good grappling. Decent striking. Relative to Lauren Murphy, probably right now off a 3-year layoff or 2.5-year layoff. And she was never like the elite of the elite, you know? So I'm going Eduarda Moura. I'm going to pick her via decision. I think Keith Peterson may distract Lauren Murphy, maybe with a Marlboro Red or something along those lines. He may drop one. She gets distracted. Moura may head kick her and KO her. But Murphy's usually pretty tough. She didn't get finished by Jessica Andrade. She got finished by Valentina Shevchenko. So if she's not getting finished by Andrade 3 years ago, I'm going to say Moura doesn't finish her. She's not finishing Veronica Hardy. She finished Montserrat Ruiz. So I could see Murphy getting finished. Maybe she's just showing up for one last 20K paycheck or 12 and 12 paycheck. But other than that, I'm not picking. She's actually almost 42 years old. So I'm not picking her. I'm going Eduarda Moura. I'll say decision. Next fight on the card, we have Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokuani. Tough fight to pick. Honestly, Jake Matthews is hit or miss. There's times where he's looked so good, and then all of a sudden he shits the bed, and then he looks good again. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He beat Francisco Prado in his last fight. Beat Phil Rowe before that. Lost to Michael Morales. Not a horrible loss to have. Beat Darius Flowers. I actually picked Darius Flowers to beat him. I remember that. And then lost to Matthew Semmelsberger before that. Chidi Njokuani been around a while. Down at welterweight now. Was fighting at middleweight for a while. On a 3-fight win streak. Beat Elazu Zaleski Dos Santos. Beat Jarrett Gooden. Beat Reese McKee. Lost to Mikhail Olszewczuk up at middleweight and Albert Duraev. I am going to go with Chidi Njokuani. I don't know which version of Jake Matthews is going to show up. I really don't know which version of Jake Matthews is going to show up. Sometimes he looks really, really solid. Other times he looks like shit. Chidi Njokuani has really good kickboxing. He's got good Muay Thai. He mixes in the knees in the clinch. And I just think he's the better fighter, and he's got a little bit of a size advantage. Jake Matthews isn't massive for welterweight. Chidi Njokuani spent a lot of time fighting at middleweight. They're both on win streaks. But I think Elazu Zaleski Dos Santos is a very, very solid win. A lot of people may have forgotten about him, you know. He went to a draw with Renat Fakhretdinov, okay, who's a very, very good fighter. I know he's not the elite of the elite. I think Jake Matthews would get finished by Renat. And I know this is kind of like MMA math a bit, but I'm just saying I think they're close in skill level, but I think Chidi Njokuani's better. I do worry about the youth advantage. 6 years younger for Jake Matthews. 6 years younger. I do take that into account, but the higher up the division, the more youth does not matter. And also you have Chidi Njokuani with a 4-inch height advantage, and then also a 7-inch reach advantage. So I'm going Chidi Njokuani to get it done. I'm going to say he wins via decision. I don't think he's going to put him away. Michael Morales didn't put him away, so I'm going to say Chidi Njokuani fights to a decision. I think it'll be a relatively close fight. I think Chidi Njokuani will win 29-28 decision win. Next fight on the card. I think this is the featured prelim. We have Max Griffin versus Chris Curtis. This is a really easy pick. I don't know how anybody would pick Max Griffin. I mean, 95% have picked Chris Curtis on Tapology. I don't know how you would pick Max Griffin in this fight. Coming off a loss against Michael Chiesa, the dead body of Michael Chiesa. I picked him to beat Michael Chiesa. No, did I? I don't remember. Michael Chiesa is a dead body and has been a dead body for years. Won a split decision against Jeremiah Wells. Lost to Michael Morales. Beat Tim Means by split decision. Lost to Neil Magny. I mean, Max Griffin has like the worst resume ever. Lost to Neil Magny. Beat Tim Means split decision. I know I'm going through it again. Lost to Michael Morales. No shame in that. Won via split decision against Jeremiah Wells. And of course, the dead body of Michael Chiesa. He's 39 years old going on 40. I know Chris Curtis is old as well. I think Chris Curtis is criminally underrated. I know he's coming off a couple losses. The Roman Khabibov fight, you know, the stoppage was horrible. The third round, if I remember, was very close up until that point. He would have lost the fight anyway. But, man, he was winning until, like, Roman Khabibov started spitting out his mouthpiece and whatnot. And it seemed like Chris Curtis was basically a lock. I picked him in that fight. Before that, he beat Brendan Allen, okay? Before that, he beat Marc-Andre Barry. It was a split decision, but he clearly won. Nasruddin Imavov, he was getting outclassed, but then he got head clashed. He lost to Kelvin Gastelum, but got head clashed there as well. So I think Chris Curtis is a really underrated boxer. He does kind of start a little bit slow, but I think his boxing is way superior than Max Griffin. And Chris Curtis has really good takedown defense, even up at middleweight. Now, granted, the wrestlers are better at welterweight, but Max Griffin isn't like some elite wrestler. I mean, you're looking at a Chris Curtis that not that long ago brutally KO'd Joaquin Buckley. It's been a bit. Okay, it's not like it was 5 years ago. I think he would KO Joaquin Buckley right now. Okay? So Max Griffin's kind of a layup. I think it's a good entry or re-entry to the welterweight division for Chris Curtis. I don't think he ever fought in the welterweight division in the UFC, but he had in PFL. I think he goes out there, outboxes Max Griffin, tags him on the feet. I hope he doesn't start slow because that's where he kind of gets behind. He shells up very well. And a lot of guys throw volume and hit his forearms, and then that volume ends up losing him rounds even if they don't actually connect. I could see him putting him out. If I was picking Chris Curtis by finish, I'd pick him second round KO. But I'm going to say he wins via decision. Max Griffin's pretty durable. I don't think Curtis is going to put him out. I don't think he's going to put him out. But he could. He has decent power at middleweight. I think he could have decent power, better power at welterweight. So I'm going to pick Chris Curtis to get it done. 30-27 decision. Maybe even like a second or early third round TKO. I'm going Chris Curtis to get it done. Next fight on the card. Opening up the main card. We have Junior Tafa versus Tokkos. Let me just say, in any universe, Tokkos should not be on the main card of any card. Not the Apex, not anything. I'm trying... I have to go Junior Tafa. I'm going to pick Junior Tafa. He's going down from heavyweight. He was a fat slob. I can't wait to see the comments of this video. Me talking about people's weight. He was a fat slob at heavyweight. You know what I mean? That's the truth. He's dropped down. He looks in good shape. I've seen some pictures of him online. I was looking at male fighters' bodies online. Now, I've seen a picture online. He looks like he's actually in good shape at light heavyweight. That's where he belongs. He's coming off that win against Sean Charrière, who took it on short notice, who was an absolute garbage can. Before that, lost to Valter Walker, lost to Marcos Rogerio de Lima, where he got leg kicked to hell. Before that, KO'd Parker Porter. He's coming in against Tokkos, who lost to Navajo Sterling, lost to Omar C. Took the Omar C fight on short notice. But dude's an idiot, man. He's friends with Brendan Allen. He's getting out-grappled by Omar C. He's like, man, he's getting tired. He's getting tired, B. And then he literally gets submitted like right afterwards. I do think Tokkos is going to try to grapple. And I do think he has the superior grappling. But I think Junior Tafa's striking is significantly better. Plus, I think he's going to have a bit of a size advantage coming down from heavyweight. And I'm assuming maybe the Tafa brothers are starting to train a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of grappling, maybe mixing it in there and stuff a takedown or two. So I think Tokkos will get stuffed, probably brutally KO. He'll be like, man, B, he's hurt. B, he's getting tired. B, he'll land one body shot and be like, you meant B, he's getting tired. And then Tafa, boom, left hook, slump city. I'm going to take Junior Tafa to get it done. First round KO. I am tentative about that, because I do think the Tafa brothers are awful, but I think he does belong at light heavyweight, so I think he can have more success at light heavyweight. I'm going Junior Tafa first round KO. Next fight on the card, another heavyweight matchup. We have Vitor Petrino versus Austen Lane. Vitor Petrino going up to heavyweight. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Dustin Jacoby, got brutally chinned in his last fight. I picked Dustin Jacoby in that fight. Before that, lost to Anthony Smith, the dead corpse of Anthony Smith. Lost to him 14 months ago. But Austen Lane, look, what's crazy is 94% is picking Petrino. I could see Austen Lane winning this fight. I will never trust Vitor Petrino again after he lost to Anthony Smith. His striking isn't that good. He's kind of sluggish. He's going to be kind of chubby at heavyweight. He's another one of these guys that just can't cut it at light heavyweight. He's like, oh, I'm going to go up to heavyweight and beat up like the bottom of the barrel guys. But Austen Lane's chinny, man. Got KO'd by Mario Pinto in his last fight, who I think came in on short notice. Beat Robelas Despain, but I would absolutely mug Robelas Despain. Before that, lost to Hanada Janice, lost to Justin Tafa. Had the eye poke against Justin Tafa. He's 37 years old. He's taken too much damage. I don't think his chin's good. So I'm going to go Vitor Petrino. It pains me. I don't think it should be 95% picking Vitor Petrino. Should I switch my pick? Should I switch my pick? It's crazy. Petrino could lose this fight. I think it's damn near a 50-50 fight. Maybe 60-40 Petrino, honestly. But I really think Austen Lane's faster than him. Has good power. I just don't trust his chin. The chin's an issue for Austen Lane. Too many KO losses, man, and brutal KO. All three of these. 3 out of his last 4 brutal KO losses, and all of them are within the last 2 years, so I'm not picking him. But if Austen Lane can avoid getting clipped on the chin, he wins this fight. I'm telling you that right now. But also, Austen Lane doesn't have good grappling, and Petrino probably can take him down. So it is what it is. I'm going Vitor Petrino. I'm going to say he puts him out in the second round. Whether he takes him down and Lane's trying to scramble up and like he's up against the fence and Petrino clips him with a shot as he's trying to scramble up, and then his body goes limp, like kind of like a video game KO. And I think that'll be the end of Austen Lane. So I'm going to go Vitor Petrino second round KO. But I say that, and I'm very hesitant about it because I hate to pick a guy who lost to the dead body of Anthony Smith. But how can I pick a guy who's losing to Hanada Janice, who's literally a straight-up scrub as well? So I'm going Petrino, second round KO. Next fight on the card. Is this the featured fight? No, it is not. Next fight on the card, we have Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrière. Nate Landwehr's a punching bag. Morgan Charrière is a decent fighter. End of story. I'm going Morgan Charrière. Nate Landwehr's pretty durable, so maybe he doesn't get finished. He got finished in his... I mean, he took a lot of damage against Doi Ho Choi. Got brutalized in the crucifix. Oh, my God. He got bloodied and battered. Before that, he beat Jamal Emmers, had a KO there. Before that, Danny Gay lost to Danny Gay. He's 37 years old, and he's just battle-worn. And then you have Charrière coming off a loss against Nathaniel Wood. It was a very close fight. Before that, beat Gabriel Miranda. Doesn't really mean much. Before that, lost to Chepe Mariscal. I thought he won that fight. And then before that, beat Manolo Zucchini, who's literally a scrub. So, listen, I just think Charrière's better everywhere. And Nate does find a way to win fights. I mean, he's like... he does just find a way, but I just think he's done, man. I think he's done. He's 37 years old, fighting a 29-year-old Morgan Charrière. I think he's outmatched here. I think he's outskilled here. I don't think he's going to be able to get taken down and controlled the way he was against Doi Ho Choi. But Charrière's a well-rounded fighter. But I think he'll keep it on the feet. He's faster. I think he's more accurate. I think he has more technical boxing fundamentals. And I think Nate Landwehr is just kind of like, yeah, man, I'm fighting in Tennessee. Let me try to put on a show, and he's just going to get clipped up, and he's going to be bleeding. And maybe the third round, Charrière is going to be tired from beating the shit out of Nate Landwehr, and maybe Nate Landwehr will get a late stoppage, and the crowd will go crazy. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't, especially after the damage he took in his last fight. So I'm going to pick Morgan Charrière to get it done. Does he get him out of there? I'm going to say Nate Landwehr survives. Nate Landwehr is very, very, very durable. I mean, look at the damage he took from Doi Ho Choi. I know I mentioned it like 6 times, but I can't get it out of my head. I think Charrière outstrikes him. I think mixes in the grappling a little bit, but doesn't have any crazy success holding him down for long periods of time. And I'm going to pick Charrière to get it done via decision over Nate Landwehr in his hometown. The road for Conor McGregor runs through Nashville, Tennessee. Anyway, next fight. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. The featured fight on the card. How can you pick Calvin Kattar on a 4-fight losing streak? I know he's lost to some of the best guys. Lost to Josh Emmett. I think I might even scored that fight for him. Lost to Arnold Allen. Fluky knee injury. Lost to Aljamain Sterling. Lost to Yusuf Zalal. Lost to really good opposition. I think Yusuf Zalal is a top 10 guy. I don't know if he's currently ranked. But Steve Garcia, man, he's on a crazy streak right now. Not against the best opposition, but going out there and finishing Kyle Nelson is decent. Before that, beat Sung Woo Choi. Before that, beat Melquizel Costa, who's doing very well right now. Before that, Shalin Nurenbeke, who's not really that good. Before that, brutally KO'd Chase Super, is doing well as well. Calvin Kattar's almost 38, creeping up on 38 years old. He's 37. You know, this is a weird fight to pick because Calvin Kattar, I do think, is the more technical striker. But, man, where's his confidence at after losing 4 straight fights? And Steve Garcia, man, he's just such a savage. And there was a time where Calvin Kattar, like, think back to the Giga Chikadze fight, where he's pushing the pace on Giga and walking him down and landing good shots and, you know, peppering him up and dicing him up. But I don't know if he's that guy anymore. I really don't. Steve Garcia is a straight-up savage, will walk you down and beat the fuck out of you. Has decent grappling. Has amazing finishing ability. I wish I had it up right now. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Steve Garcia, I mean, the amount of finishes he's had, especially recently, is just insane. Let me look at overall career out of curiosity. Yeah, 14, okay? 14 of 17 wins via TKO or KO. Only 3 of his wins are via decision. But it's hard to imagine Calvin Kattar getting brutally finished. I mean, the only finished loss, even against good opposition, is when he injured his knee against Arnold Allen, where he jumped up in the air and injured his knee. But you know what? I think he's on his way out. I could see a pick of Calvin Kattar. Like, if you picking Calvin Kattar and you're like, man, look, he's the superior boxer. I picked him to beat Aljo. I thought he'd be able to stuff the takedowns of Aljo. But if you're looking at it, you're like, Steve Garcia is kind of not really technical. He's a savage. He marches forward, throws wild winging, finishing shots. And I could see a world where Calvin Kattar touches him up with more technical boxing. But I'm not picking that, man. You got to look at kind of momentum. You got to look at age. You got to look at finishing streaks. I mean, this guy's just out there finishing everybody. And I think Calvin Kattar's confidence is in the toilet. I don't think he's like the elite of the elite striker. His boxing is decent. But I think Steve Garcia is improving. I think he's surging. I think he's in the prime of his career. I think he's going to come out in a featured card fight spot. And I think he's going to, in a featured fight card, a featured fight on the main card and look for a finish. I'm going Steve Garcia to put Calvin Kattar away. Slumps him out cold in the second round. I think this fight will be primarily standing. I could see Steve Garcia hurting him early, busting up that nose of Calvin Kattar. It seems to love to get busted up. I think also that Max Holloway fight took years off of Calvin Kattar's career and life. And I think, we may have seen a doctor stoppage there. Or did we? I don't even know anymore. But Steve Garcia is going to go out there and put him away. It's going to be brutal. Everyone's going to say, you know what? Maybe it's time for Calvin Kattar to hang it up. I'm picking Steve Garcia to get it done and prove himself in the featherweight division. Get a signature win in the featherweight division. Putting these other guys away like Cal Nelson, Sungwoo Choi, Mel Quizzel Costa are good. But it's not the same as putting a guy away like Calvin Kattar. So I'm going to go Steve Garcia. I'm going to say second round KO, primarily on the feet. Garcia just finds that kill shot, hurts Calvin Kattar. Probably some weird, awkward, like wobbly legs. I can just imagine it now. Calvin Kattar wobbling all over the place. Steve Garcia just lunging in with big shots and putting him away, dropping him badly. Referee steps in. Maybe a slightly early stoppage, but we saw all we needed to see. I'm going Steve Garcia, second round KO. Next fight on the card, co-main event. We have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. Oh, you know what? This card isn't too bad. To be honest, this fight card isn't too bad. I could see Wonderboy getting this done. Am I picking him? I don't think so. But you look at his last few fights. The Buckley fight, he was winning until he got KO'd in the third round. Fight before that against Shavkat Rakhmonov, it's Shavkat. And he got out-grappled. We know Wonderboy, if you've wrestled in elementary school, Wonderboy does not want to fight you. Before that, beat up Kevin Holland. I picked him to beat Kevin Holland. Before that, lost to Bilal Muhammad, who went on to become a champion. So it's not that out of the realm of possibility for him to beat a guy like Gabriel Bonfim, who's coming off a win over Chaos Williams, who's coming off a win over Angelosa, and lost to Nicholas Dalby and really started to fade and get finished late in the fight. Wonderboy, though, I think he's too old. His karate style, his kickboxing style, it's really only conducive when you're super athletic and super fast and have amazing reflexes and amazing footwork. The older you get, that stuff starts to regress. And then on top of that, he doesn't have the best takedown defense. And Gabriel Bonfim has a nasty submission game. He'll lock up, I think he locked up, was it Darce? Yeah, I think it was a Darce on Dana White's Contender Series. Then his UFC debut, I think it was a mounted guillotine choke. He will snatch up your neck quicker than you even realize it's happening. Guy's 17-1. He lost to Nicholas Dalby, but Dalby, very suspicious in my opinion. Very, very suspicious in my opinion. The cardio's been unreal. But I could see a scenario where Wonderboy keeps distance and, kickboxes him from range. But Bonfim has nasty power. Wonderboy, I don't think he's putting him away, especially not early. And I think Bonfim is going to march in with dangerous shots, throw a variety of attacks. And then I think he's going to mix in the grappling, which is going to have Wonderboy tentative on the feet. Wonderboy's just going to be sitting in that karate stance, that sideways stance, try to use lateral movement to avoid Bonfim. Bonfim's going to lunge in with big shots, probably crack Wonderboy, and then boom, right to the double leg. Boom, right to the single leg. Wonderboy's going to try to avoid it, and eventually he's going to get taken down. And Wonderboy has good scrambles, but as he scrambles up, Bonfim's going to latch up his neck. So I'm going to pick Gabriel Bonfim to get it done. I'm going to say second round guillotine. I just can't pick a 42-year-old, 42-and-a-half-year-old Wonderboy Thompson. He's aging, man. He's fighting a 27-year-old killer. I think Bonfim maybe needed that loss to Nicholas Dalby to learn and get better and improve. And I just think Bonfim loves to make a fight dirty. Wonderboy likes to keep it clean. And I just don't think he has the athletic ability or the reflexes or the footwork or the power, the firepower coming back to keep Bonfim off of him. Look at the Buckley fight. It's like everything was going good until Buckley was able to close that distance and crack him up against the fence and slump him out cold. I could see Bonfim cracking him and then latching up a guillotine as Wonderboy tries to survive. So I'm going to pick Gabriel Bonfim to get it done. I think his jiu-jitsu, I think his submission ability is unbelievable. And I just think Wonderboy's too old and too slow. And it's probably time for him to retire. He beat Kevin Holland, who's a scrub. Okay, he could beat Kevin Holland again right now. They give Kevin Holland main card slot after main card slot against favorable matchups. That's what they try to do against Wonderboy, and Wonderboy made him quit. He should have retired there. It was 2.5 years ago. He's older, he's slower, and I think Gabriel Bonfim is going to latch up a submission in the second round and get it done over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Next fight on the card, the main event. The main event. Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. Man, can't wait for this one, man. I got 10 units on the dog. I think the dogs are going to be barking on this one now. Look, we got Tallison Teixeira being main eventing after one fight in the UFC where he beat Justin Tafa, who's a scrub. Look at this torso, by the way. I would love a measurement from waistband to top of the head. I mean, look at this. Look at the length of this torso. Look at the length. Pause. Derrick Lewis is actually kind of underrated, even though he's a bit of a fan favorite. He's coming off a win over Rodrigo Nascimento, KO'd him. Wasn't a great performance before that. Lost to Jalton Almeida. Actually did better than I expected, the fact that he avoided the submission. Before that, beat Rogerio de Lima. Before that, lost to Sergey Spivak. Before that, lost to Sergey Pavlovich. He's 40 years old. He's fighting a 25-year-old Tallison Teixeira, who has nasty power, man. He's 8-0. He's undefeated. He's 25 years old. He's 15 years younger, okay? 15 years younger than Derrick Lewis. But Derrick Lewis, he has those nukes in his hand. He does. But I think he's slow. He's actually underrated. His speed is underrated, but he is slow. Tallison Teixeira, it seems like the UFC is trying to push heavyweight prospects because they realize the heavyweight division is dead. They did the same thing with Kuniev versus Curtis Blades. What is Derrick Lewis ranked right now? Derrick Lewis is ranked number 9 right now. So they're clearly trying to push fresh contenders into the heavyweight division. And we've seen this in a moment in time in like lightweight where Gaethje's turning back Rafael Fiziev and who else? Dustin's turning back Benoit Saint-Denis. And there was other examples. I think the heavyweight turnover is the new guys are going to beat the older guys. I think Kuniev beat Curtis Blades clear as day. He got robbed brutally. And I think Tallison Teixeira probably beats Derrick Lewis. Of course, there's a chance he nukes him. But Derrick Lewis is kind of chinny too. You know, we've seen him get brutalized. We've seen him get brutalized by Tai Tuivasa, who's a bum. We've seen him get brutalized by Sergey Pavlovich. We've seen him get taken down and destroyed by Sergey Spivak. His takedown defense isn't that good. Tallison Teixeira is well-rounded enough. He's faster. He has a longer reach, 4-inch reach advantage. He's 4 inches taller than Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis will lose, and then he'll somehow find an uppercut and KO Tallison Teixeira. Of course, that's possible. I'm not banking on that. So I'm going to pick Tallison Teixeira to get it done. I think he gets it done. I think he uses his reach advantage. I think he's really going to start cracking Derrick Lewis. And I think he's not going to show the respect to Derrick Lewis that others have because he's undefeated. He's going to come in with crazy confidence. He's like, oh, I'm going to beat Derrick Lewis. He's a name. He's been around for a while. He has a good ranking in the top 10. And I don't think he's going to be worried about the power of Derrick Lewis. I think he's going to be like, I have the reflexes. I can avoid these big, slow shots coming back from Derrick Lewis, and I'm going to crack him. And I think he's going to crack Derrick Lewis early and get him out of there early. So I'm going to pick Tallison Teixeira first or second round KO. I'm going to say early second round because I'm going to say he's going to start coming on strong late in the first. But then Derrick Lewis maybe clips him with something, and then he's like, okay, let me show him a little bit more respect. But then he really gets his foot on the gas early in the second round, cracks Derrick Lewis, slumps him down, drops him down, follows up with some brutal ground and pound shots. I'm going to pick Tallison Teixeira, second round KO, early to mid second round KO. I'm picking the new blood, 25 years old, height and reach advantage. Derrick Lewis, I think he just shows up for paychecks at this point in time. He's an interesting character in the heavyweight division, but I think it's time for some new prospects, some new heavyweight blood. So, yeah, that's it, boys. I'm going Tallison Teixeira. Let me actually look what Tapology. Tapology's 67% Teixeira as well. That's crazy. You know, I do think there is a case to be made Derrick Lewis slumps him out cold because he has nuclear power, but I think Derrick Lewis is kind of hesitant to throw his power when he has a big power puncher throwing back as well, and Teixeira has good power. So we've seen that in the Francis Ngannou fight. We've seen it in the Pavlovich fight. We even seen it in the Tai Tuivasa fight a bit where he played dead a bit. It seemed like it. So I'm going Teixeira to get Derrick Lewis out of there. UFC Fight Night, Nashville. Full card predictions. Okay, I could go through every single fight, 35-minute breakdown of every fight, make this a 4.5 hour. I don't know if the math even jives. Make this a 4.5 hour prediction video, but I'm not going to do that. Like the video, please. Guys, let me know who you're picking in the main event. I'm curious. You going Teixeira? You going Derrick Lewis? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.